Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the life and times of Crazy Patrick. And like I explained in my video yesterday, I'm going to tell you a story about the Doñana Mountains, which are kind of to the back and left of me. And before I get started in that, I want to tell you a few of the YouTubers that I watch daily, and send you to their channels. I watch Deborah Dickinson. She's been living in an RV for a long time. She's had her ups and downs. She's had problems with a couple of them, and she's had to work her way through a lot of problems, and she's pretty interesting. I watch Rusty 78609. He's a really interesting guy. He's been living in travel trailers, and he now has a really nice Class C, and he tows a Chevy Spark behind it. He calls Sparky, just like my Chevy Spark, and he's a really interesting guy. And one of the most interesting things about him is he changes his mind about things like people change their socks. The other one I watch all the time is G-Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. Now this guy, he knows everything about everything. If you need to know anything about solar, he has a homestead in the high desert in California, and he built the cabin himself. He did all the work himself. He does everything with carpentry, electrical, plumbing. He knows everything. He's a really good guy. He knows gardening. He has a great big grow house. He knows how to graft. He can teach how to graft. The guy he's like a genius to me. I watch Box Van D all the time. She's an old lady. Well, I'm going to say old lady. I hate to say old lady. She's my age or maybe a little older. She had a really hard life, and I think she started living in a car, out nomad in a car, and she finally worked her way up to this box van that she's turned into a nice house, a nice home, and she does it on very low income. So she's really interesting to listen to. I also watch Camper Van Kevin. He's got the most amazing 3 little dogs that you've ever seen, and he's been living in an RV for a long time, and he's really interesting. Carolyn's RV life, she's probably been living in an RV longer than anybody that I know of, and she does all boondocking. She rarely stays in a paid state park or national park. She does everything boondocking, and she can teach you a lot about that if that's something you're interested in. And then last but not least is Cheap RV Living, and that's Bob Wells' channel. I'm sure if you're a YouTuber and you're into this thing, you've heard of Bob Wells. That guy's amazing. He's been living in a van for years, and he's built such a huge channel that he makes a lot of money on his channel, and he helps other people. He helps people that would otherwise be homeless get into minivans and build them out, and so that they have a home. And I have a lot of respect for Bob Wells, so I hope you check out his channel. But anyways, I want to get into this story about El Chato. In my last video, I was explaining to you that here at Radium Springs, down by the river, that used to be called Robledo, back when the Spaniards were here. And the Spaniards and the monks and everybody coming from Mexico City and Mexico going to Santa Fe would come right through here. And this is where they would take on their last supplies of water, and then they would journey off across here, headed north across what's called the Coronado del Muerto, which is the journey of death. And instead of following the river, because it was much closer that way, it would cut a lot of miles off. But it was also very dangerous, and a lot of people died going across there. But this El Chato was a Spanish conquistador, and he had went renegade, and he got together a band of Apache Indians that followed him, and he would come out, attack the people that was going across the Coronado del Muerto. He would rob them. He would steal their gold and silver, and he would disappear. And I explained to you the Doñana Mountains yesterday, and I've done a lot of research, and I've been in the Doñanas before they closed it off, and El Chato could have gone from one end of the Doñanas and out the south end of the Doñanas, almost like they was running on a highway and totally out of sight on horseback. And I believe that that's where he was hiding. And it's very close to the Coronado del Muerto, so it was easy for him to come out of there, attack, and disappear. Well, the Spaniards were hunting for him, Spanish army, and they finally caught up with him, and they finally captured El Chato, and they took him back to Mexico City. They tried him, and he was sentenced to be executed. And before his execution, he asked for a priest. He confessed everything to this priest. He explained to the priest where he had hidden this stuff in a cave that went straight down in the ground, over a man's height, and then angled down into the ground at an angle. And then after he was down in there a ways, it split, and there was one went to the left, one went to the right. They put all the silver in one side, they put all the gold church artifacts in the other side. There's supposedly 150 mule loads of silver coin, and God knows how much gold church artifacts and things are hidden in there. And he had told the priest that they had filled it all in, and at the top they placed a flat rock, flat stone, and covered it all up so that nobody would ever find it. And so he was letting his priest know where it was at. Well, on east of here we have the Oregon mountain range. People want to call it Oregon. It's not the Oregon mountain range, it's the Oregon mountain range, because the peaks resemble the pipes on a pipe organ. And people have thought that that's where it was, but it makes no sense, because that would be too far for El Chato to come all the way to the Coronado del Muerto and rob these people and carry it that far. It makes no sense. And so with that, nobody's ever found this treasure, and well, nobody has ever documented that they found the treasure. But I'm going to tell you another story before this trip's over about the same treasure, but much more recent time, just prior to World War II and just after World War II. And so I'm going to get into that. And at the end of this video, I'm going to put on the screen all these other YouTube channels that I watch, and I hope that you'll go check their channels out. And if you would please, if you check their channel out, leave them a comment and let them know that the Life and Times of Crazy Patrick has sent you over to their channel. Maybe I'll get some kudos out of it. I'm trying to build my channel, and I know it's going to take forever, and so any help I can get would be appreciated. I really want to ask you to give me those thumbs up. I'm going to try to keep you entertained with stories and different things, and I'll take you on my trips, my camping trips, and keep you entertained. So if you would please give me those thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, help me out. And if you know anybody else that you can send them over to my channel, send them over. I'm sure some of these stories would be interesting to them. And so with that, I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to catch you on the flip-flop.